Ladies and gentlemen, every great achievement in history began not with a grand gesture, but with a small, often unseen step. We live in a world obsessed with instant results, where success stories are celebrated, fascinated, but the small beginnings behind them are forgotten. Yet the truth is, every overnight success was years in the making. Every giant leap you admire began as a hesitant, humble first step. I'm fascinated every great journey begins with one small step. And yet this is the truth we often overlook. When people dream, they tend to picture the destination. The success, the recognition, fascinated, the achievement, but rarely the very first step that starts it all. The first step is never glamorous. It doesn't make headlines or draw applause. It's often small, uncertain, and uncomfortable. I'm fascinated. But that small beginning is the bridge between wishing and becoming, between potential and progress. Every mountain climbed, every business built, every life transformed began when someone decided to move forward, fascinated. Even when the road ahead was unclear, we live in a time where instant gratification dominates our mindset. We want rapid results, fast success, and immediate change. But real growth doesn't work that way. Fascinated. Just like a tree takes years to rise from the soil, every meaningful journey takes time. The first step doesn't promise success. It promises movement. And movement is everything. Once you move, momentum starts to build. Fascinated. It might not be visible at first, but beneath the surface, your actions begin shaping your future. The step you take today might look small, but it holds the power to change the entire direction of your life. Fascinated. Fear is what stops most people from taking that first step. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being ready. But the truth is no one ever feels completely ready to begin. Fascinated. The courage to take the first step isn't about being fearless. It's about acting in spite of fear. When you take that step, you send a message to yourself and to the world that you're ready to grow. You're ready to try. Fascinated. To learn and to evolve. The beauty of that first move is that it doesn't have to be big, it just has to be real. A single step forward is infinitely more powerful than standing still with perfect plans. Fascinated. History is filled with examples of people who started small but achieved the extraordinary. Thomas Edison's light bulb wasn't born out of genius overnight. It came from thousands of small experiments. Fascinated, each one a step closer to success. Every breakthrough scientist, every world-changing entrepreneur, every inspiring leader started with one simple decision to begin. They didn't wait for everything to align. They just took action. Fascinated, the greatest difference between dreamers and achievers is not talent, luck, or intelligence. It's movement. Dreamers wait, achievers start. Taking the first step also reshapes your mindset. Once you act, fascinated, your brain starts to believe that progress is possible. You begin to see opportunity where before there's only doubt. Every time you take a step forward, your confidence grows, and with confidence comes courage. I'm fascinated. The path ahead may still be long, but you no longer feel paralyzed by its length. Instead, you focus on the next small move and then the one after that. Before you realize it, fascinated, those small steps accumulate and create something remarkable. It's also important to understand that the first step will rarely be perfect. It may lead to mistakes or detours, but those experiences are part of the journey. Fascinated. Every stumble teaches something valuable. Every setback prepares you for what's next. Success is not the absence of struggle. It's the persistence to keep stepping through it. I'm fascinated. The greatest journeys are not defined by how quickly you reach the destination, but by how faithfully you keep walking toward it. So when you feel overwhelmed by the size of your dream, shrink your focus. Fascinated. Don't look at the peak, look at the ground in front of you. Take one small step. Write one page, make one call, start one project. That's how every story of greatness begins. Fascinated, the journey of 1,000 miles doesn't start with a leap. It starts with one small, brave step forward. Consistency turns small actions into big results. A truth that shapes every lasting success story. Fascinated, while motivation sparks the beginning of a journey, it's consistency that carries it through to the end. Many people start strong but fade away when results don't appear quickly enough. Fascinated. They mistake the lack of immediate progress for failure, not realizing that growth often happens silently in the background through repeated effort. Small, consistent actions may seem insignificant on their own. Fascinated, but over time they compound into extraordinary outcomes. Like drops of water carving a stone, steady effort reshapes reality. Consistency is the foundation of mastery. No one becomes great overnight. Every expert, every athlete, fascinated, every innovator has spent countless days doing the same thing, refining, improving, and learning through repetition. It's not the dramatic bursts of effort that create excellence. It's the quiet, fascinated, disciplined commitment to showing up even when enthusiasm fades. When you practice daily, even in small doses, you train your mind and body to grow stronger. Progress may be slow, but it is sure. Fascinated, the power of consistency lies not in doing more, but in doing something every single day. In a world obsessed with quick fixes and instant gratification, consistency feels underrated. I'm fascinated, but it's the invisible thread connecting dreams to results. Think of a sculptor chiseling a block of marble. Each strike of the hammer seems to make little difference, yet after thousands of deliberate strikes, a masterpiece emerges. The same principle applies to personal growth, health, business, or learning. Each small, consistent action accumulates power over time. The results may not show in a day or a week, but they always arrive for those who refuse to quit. Fascinated, the hardest part of consistency is endurance, doing the work even when you don't feel like it. Passion may start the engine, but discipline keeps it running. There will be days when you're tired, distracted, or uninspired. Fascinated, those are the days that test your commitment. Success belongs to the ones who keep showing up, not because it's easy, but because they understand that consistency builds strength. When you push through resistance, fascinated, you teach yourself resilience. That resilience becomes your greatest asset, not just for achieving goals, but for facing life's challenges with courage. Small actions done consistently also create habits. Fascinated, and habits define who we become. When a behavior becomes part of your routine, it no longer depends on motivation. It becomes automatic. This is where transformation truly begins. A writer who writes a page a day, fascinated, a runner who trains each morning, an entrepreneur who dedicates an hour daily to learning, all will see progress not because of sudden breakthroughs, but because of accumulated dedication. It's the small, fascinated, unglamorous choices, the ones no one applauds, that make the biggest difference over time. Consistency also builds trust in yourself and in others. When you keep promises to yourself, you strengthen self-belief. Fascinated, you start to trust your ability to follow through, and that trust becomes the fuel for bigger goals. Others notice your reliability too. Whether in leadership, relationships, or teamwork, fascinated people are drawn to those who show up consistently. It signals character, dependability, and integrity, qualities far more valuable than talent alone. There's also a psychological magic in repetition. Fascinated, when you do something repeatedly, your brain rewires itself. What was once difficult becomes natural. Every repetition deepens your understanding and sharpens your skill. It's why professional musicians practice scales. Fascinated, athletes train daily and leaders revisit core principles. Each repetition, however small, brings clarity, efficiency, and precision. Progress may not always be visible, but beneath the surface, fascinated, something powerful is forming, a stronger version of you. Consistency doesn't demand perfection. It only asks for persistence. Missing a day or stumbling doesn't mean failure. What matters is returning to the path. Fascinated, the goal is not to be flawless, but to be faithful to your purpose, to your growth, and to the small steps that move you forward. Over time, the small, repeated actions you take compound into giant leaps. I'm fascinated, often surprising even you with their magnitude. The key is to keep going, especially when it feels like nothing is changing, because everything is just not yet visible. The secret to transformation isn't in doing everything once. Fascinated, it's in doing something consistently. That's how ordinary people achieve extraordinary things. Each day you show up, each small effort you make adds another layer to your foundation. One day, I'm fascinated, you'll look back and realize that what once felt small and insignificant became the reason you reached your greatest heights. Consistency doesn't just create success. It is success one step, one habit, and one choice at a time. I'm fascinated. Progress is more important than perfection because perfection is an illusion that keeps so many people from ever starting. Fascinated, we often convince ourselves that everything must be flawless before we take the first step, that the timing has to be right, the plan fully formed, and the path completely clear. But perfectionism is just fear wearing a mask. Fascinated. It's fear of failure, fear of judgment, and fear of the unknown disguised as standards. The truth is, growth never begins in perfection. It begins in motion. You learn, adjust, and improve only when you start moving forward. Fascinated, even if you stumble along the way. Every person who has achieved greatness began imperfectly. The early drafts of best-selling books were full of mistakes. The first speeches of great leaders were awkward and uncertain. Fascinated, the initial attempts of entrepreneurs often failed, but they all shared one thing: they valued progress over perfection. Fascinated, they understood that doing something imperfectly today is far more powerful than doing nothing while waiting for perfection tomorrow. Every effort, no matter how small or messy, moves you closer to where you want to be. Fascinated, perfection seeks approval, progress seeks growth. When you aim for perfection, your focus turns outward on what others will think, on how you'll be perceived, on whether you'll look successful. But progress is internal. I'm fascinated. It's about being a little better than you were yesterday. It's about learning, adapting, and becoming stronger through effort. When you chase progress, you free yourself from the pressure of getting everything right. Fascinated. You allow yourself to experiment, to fail, and to rise again, and that is where real improvement happens. Mistakes, in fact, are the greatest teachers on the path of progress. Each misstep provides insight, direction, and resilience. Fascinated, the people who reach the top are not those who never fail, but those who never stop learning from failure. When you embrace imperfection, you give yourself permission to grow. The act of trying, failing, fascinated, and trying again molds you into someone capable of achieving far more than the person who never dares to begin. It's not perfection that builds strength. It's persistence through imperfection. In our fast-moving world, fascinated, many people hide behind preparation. They spend years planning, researching, or waiting for the perfect moment that never arrives. But progress demands action, not endless preparation. I'm fascinated. The perfect moment is a myth. There is only now. Every day you delay, your dream drifts further away. Every day you take action, even small, imperfect action, you build momentum. Fascinated, and momentum is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Once you start, your path becomes clearer, not before. Action reveals what planning cannot. Progress also fuels motivation. Fascinated, when you take imperfect steps and see even the slightest improvement, it sparks energy and belief. You realize that you're capable of growth, and that realization creates more drive. Waiting for perfection drains motivation. Fascinated, because nothing ever feels good enough to begin. Progress, on the other hand, builds hope, a sense that change is possible. Each small improvement becomes evidence that you're moving forward. Fascinated, and that sense of movement is powerful enough to keep you going. There is also beauty in imperfection. It's what makes your journey uniquely yours. The struggles, the failed attempts, fascinated, the rough edges, they shape your story and give it depth. Perfection is sterile, progress is alive. The people who inspire us most are not those who appear flawless, but those who embrace vulnerability and keep pushing through it. Fascinated, their authenticity reminds us that progress, not perfection, is the path to greatness. In every area of life, whether you're learning a skill, building a career, or improving yourself, the key is to focus on becoming. Fascinated, not arriving. Every small step counts. Every effort matters. You may not be where you want to be yet, but you're closer than you were yesterday, and that's something to be proud of. Progress doesn't always look glamorous. Fascinated, sometimes it's slow, messy, and frustrating, but every forward movement, however small, is still movement. So don't let perfection hold you prisoner. Let it go. Begin with what you have, where you are. Fascinated, and trust that improvement will come through the doing. You'll make mistakes, and that's exactly how you'll grow. The point is not to be perfect. The point is to keep going, to evolve, to keep taking those small steps. Fascinated, because in the end, it's progress, not perfection, that leads to the giant leaps you dream of. Small wins build confidence and momentum, because success in its truest form is rarely the result of one massive leap. Fascinated, it's the accumulation of small victories that eventually lead to extraordinary achievements. Every great story of accomplishment is written one small chapter at a time, and those chapters are filled with daily acts of persistence. Fascinated, patience, and when you celebrate small wins, you're not just recognizing progress, you're reinforcing belief. That belief becomes the foundation on which bigger dreams are built. The problem is, I'm fascinated, most people overlook small wins. They're so focused on the finish line that they forget to value the steps that get them there. They think only grand results matter, yet it's the small victories finishing a task. Fascinated. Sticking to a routine, overcoming a moment of doubt. That truly shaped the journey. These moments might seem insignificant, but psychologically, they are powerful. Fascinated. Each small win releases a sense of accomplishment that tells your brain you're capable. And once your mind starts believing that everything changes, confidence isn't born from achievement, it's built from consistency. Fascinated. Momentum is the secret ingredient that transforms effort into excellence. When you achieve even the smallest success, you create a spark, a forward push that makes it easier to keep going. Think of a snowball rolling down a hill. I'm fascinated. It starts tiny, almost unnoticeable, but as it moves, it gathers mass, speed, and strength. That's exactly how momentum works in life. Every small win adds to your energy, motivation, and sense of purpose. Fascinated, turning what once felt impossible into something within reach. Without momentum, even the most passionate dreams lose steam. With it, challenges begin to feel like opportunities instead of obstacles. I'm fascinated. Small wins also serve as proof that progress is happening, even when the bigger goal still feels far away. When results seem distant, it's easy to feel discouraged, to think that nothing's working. Fascinated. But acknowledging every step forward keeps you connected to your growth. Whether it's writing one page, saving a little money, or learning a new skill, each small victory is evidence that you're moving in the right direction. Fascinated. Over time, these wins compound like interest in a bank account, growing your confidence and competence exponentially. Confidence built through small wins is also more sustainable than confidence built on one-time success. Fascinated. When you achieve something big without understanding the small steps that led to it, it's easy to doubt whether you can do it again. But when your confidence grows from repeated, consistent wins, it becomes deeply rooted. Fascinated. You've proven to yourself time after time that you can take action and create results. This kind of confidence doesn't vanish when challenges appear. It adapts, strengthens, and guides you through adversity. Fascinated. Momentum and confidence feed each other. The more you win, the more energy you gain to keep pushing. The more consistent you are, the easier it becomes to take the next step. Fascinated. It's a cycle of progress that turns ordinary effort into extraordinary outcomes. That's why even the smallest success deserves recognition. When you acknowledge your progress, fascinated, you give yourself credit for your effort. And that sense of achievement becomes fuel for the next phase of your journey. It's not just about celebrating wins, it's about learning from them. Fascinated. Each small victory reveals what works, your strengths, strategies, and resilience. It gives you clarity about how to approach bigger goals. In contrast, ignoring small wins can lead to burnout and frustration. Fascinated, making you forget how far you've already come. Gratitude for small progress keeps your spirit alive and your motivation strong. In moments of doubt or exhaustion, reflecting on your small wins can reignite your confidence. Fascinated, you begin to realize that you're not stuck, you're evolving. Every step forward, no matter how small, is proof that you're capable of change. Over time, these incremental improvements create unstoppable momentum. Fascinated, they transform your mindset from I can't to I'm getting there. And that mindset shift is often the real breakthrough. The truth is, greatness is not about giant leaps, but about a series of small, determined steps taken with belief and persistence. When you value and celebrate small wins, you build momentum that carries you through fear, fatigue, and failure. Each win, no matter how small, fascinated, brings you closer to your vision and strengthens the most powerful belief of all, that you can keep going. And when that belief becomes unshakable, even the smallest steps lead to the greatest leaps. Fascinated, patience and persistence multiply your efforts because success is rarely a straight line. It's a slow, winding road filled with detours, delays, and doubts. In a world that glorifies speed, I'm fascinated. We've forgotten that true growth takes time. We see others' highlights and think their success happened overnight. But behind every achievement are countless hours of unseen effort, quiet persistence, and unwavering patience. Fascinated. The people who reach their goals are not necessarily the fastest or the most talented. They're the ones who keep going when progress feels invisible. Patience gives you endurance, and persistence gives you direction. Together, fascinated, they turn small actions into massive results. Every great accomplishment begins as a seed. When you plant it, nothing happens for a while. You water it, nurture it, protect it, and still see no sign of life. But beneath the surface, fascinated, Roots are growing deep and unseen. That's how progress works. Most of the transformation happens before you can see it. The same effort that feels unrecognized today is often laying the foundation for tomorrow's success. I'm fascinated. Patience allows you to trust that process. Without it, you might give up just before your breakthrough. Growth doesn't happen on your schedule. It happens on the schedule of persistence. Fascinated. Persistence is the engine that keeps you moving forward despite obstacles. It's easy to stay committed when things go well, but persistence is tested when nothing seems to work. That's where most people quit. Fascinated. They mistake delay for denial, forgetting that success often demands endurance through uncertainty. Persistence means showing up again and again, even when results are small or progress feels slow. Fascinated. It's about believing in your vision strongly enough to keep working for it long after the excitement fades. The world rewards those who stay the course because most people don't. Patience, on the other hand, fascinated, keeps persistence from turning into frustration. It teaches you to wait without losing faith, to act without demanding instant results. In every pursuit, whether learning a new skill, building a business, fascinated, or changing yourself, patience helps you understand that time is not your enemy, it's your ally. Rushing leads to burnout, but patience allows lessons to sink in, habits to form, and maturity to develop. I'm fascinated. The best things in life, love, mastery, success, all require time to grow. The combination of patience and persistence creates momentum that compounds. Each effort builds on the last, even when you can't see it. Fascinated, like waves shaping rocks over centuries, steady effort transforms what once seemed immovable. A person who reads a few pages daily will eventually finish hundreds of books. Fascinated, a musician who practices every day will one day perform with mastery. A dream pursued with quiet determination will sooner or later become reality. The small, fascinated, repeated actions that seem insignificant today will one day be recognized as the foundation of something extraordinary. Both patience and persistence also build character. They teach discipline, humility, I'm fascinated, and resilience, qualities far more valuable than any single achievement. Every setback you endure strengthens your resolve. Every delay tests your belief in yourself. Fascinated. And every moment you choose persistence over giving up adds another layer of strength to your character. Success without struggle is fragile. Success earned through patience and persistence is permanent. I'm fascinated. It's important to understand that persistence is not about blindly repeating the same actions. It's about staying committed to the goal while being flexible with the path. Sometimes persistence means adapting, improving, fascinated, and trying new approaches without giving up on the dream itself. Patience gives you the emotional stability to make those adjustments without losing focus. Fascinated, it helps you trust the timing of your progress instead of forcing outcomes prematurely. Many people quit because they underestimate how long things take. They start with enthusiasm, but when results don't appear quickly, fascinated, they assume they've failed. But growth is like the bamboo tree. For years, it shows no visible sign of growth, yet it's developing a deep root system. When it finally breaks through the soil, it grows rapidly, fascinated, soaring high within weeks. That's how success often works. You work in silence for years, and then one day everything blooms. The key is to keep going with patience, persistence, and faith that your efforts matter. I'm fascinated. Don't measure progress only by what you can see, measure it by your commitment to continue. Each day you persist, you're building something within yourself: strength, endurance, and self-belief. Fascinated. The world may not notice your small efforts now, but one day those quiet moments of persistence will turn into your greatest triumphs. Fascinated. Patience and persistence don't just multiply results, they transform who you are and prepare you for the success you were meant to achieve. Tiny efforts inspire giant leaps in others because action, no matter how small, fascinated, creates a ripple effect that extends far beyond what we can see. People often believe that they must do something extraordinary to make a difference. But the truth is that consistent, simple actions can spark powerful change. Fascinated, every movement of progress, whether social, personal, or professional, has begun because someone dared to start, often quietly, often alone. The courage to take even one step forward shows others that it's possible. Fascinated, and in doing so, it lights the way for them to take their own steps. Inspiration is rarely born from perfection. It grows from authenticity and perseverance. When others see you striving, struggling, and improving. Fascinated, they see a reflection of their own potential. They realize that if you can do it, so can they. You may not even realize the influence you carry. A word of encouragement, a small act of kindness, a moment of discipline. Fascinated are an example of resilience can leave an imprint on someone's life. Human beings are naturally wired to mirror one another. When we witness persistence, we feel a pull to emulate it. When we see courage, it awakens courage within us. I'm fascinated. A single spark of determination in one person can ignite a fire of belief in countless others. Think about how great leaders and innovators changed the world. It wasn't always through grand gestures, but through small, fascinated, steady acts of conviction. Mahatma Gandhi's peaceful resistance began as a simple refusal to accept injustice. Rosa Parks' quiet decision not to give up her seat became a defining moment in civil rights history. I'm fascinated. These actions may have seemed small at the time, but they inspired movements that transformed entire nations. The lesson is clear. Your effort doesn't have to be large to be meaningful. The smallest act, fascinated, if done with intention and consistency, can carry immense power. In everyday life, the same principle applies. A parent who works hard for their family teaches their children the value of dedication. I'm fascinated. A teacher who believes in a struggling student instills hope that lasts a lifetime. A friend who never gives up despite challenges reminds others that perseverance is possible. Influence doesn't require fame or a platform. Fascinated. It requires presence and authenticity. The way you live your life, the choices you make, and the way you handle obstacles can quietly inspire the people around you in ways you may never know. Fascinated. What makes small efforts so inspiring is their relatability. When people see someone succeeding effortlessly, it may motivate them for a moment, but it often feels distant. Yet when they see someone taking small, fascinated, imperfect steps, someone who stumbles, learns, and grows, they feel connected. They think, if they can keep going, I can too. That connection breeds empowerment. Fascinated, the humility and humanity in small efforts make them powerful beyond measure. Inspiration is not only about achievement, but about attitude. Your resilience, your kindness. Fascinated, your patience in the face of frustration. These are quiet examples that others absorb. The world doesn't need louder voices. It needs consistent examples of hope and effort. Each time you show up, even when it's hard, fascinated, you remind someone else that persistence is possible. You may never know whose life you've touched, but your influence spreads through every interaction, every word, and every choice. Small efforts also create a chain reaction. Fascinated, one inspired person inspires another, and that person inspires someone else, creating a wave of positive change. It's how communities grow, how cultures shift, and how ideas evolve. Fascinated. You don't have to lead a movement to make a difference. You just have to start where you are. By being intentional with your actions, you plant seeds that may one day become forests of change. Fascinated. It's easy to underestimate your impact because influence doesn't always show immediate results. But influence is like gravity, invisible, constant, and powerful. The small effort you make today, offering encouragement, fascinated, taking initiative, showing perseverance, can ripple through time and space in ways you may never see. You might inspire someone to make a choice that transforms their life, and they, in turn, might inspire countless others. I'm fascinated. In the end, the beauty of small efforts lies in their quiet power. You don't have to shout to make an impact. You simply have to keep moving forward, doing your part with purpose. The world changes not because of grand gestures, fascinated, but because of consistent acts of courage, kindness, and belief. Every small effort you make becomes part of something much larger, a chain of inspiration that turns ordinary moments into extraordinary leaps for others. The journey of transformation is rarely defined by a single moment or a giant leap. It is the accumulation of small, deliberate actions that create extraordinary results. Each step we take, no matter how modest, builds momentum, fascinated, shapes character, and strengthens belief in what is possible. Progress matters more than perfection. Consistency outweighs fleeting motivation, and persistence turns effort into achievement. I'm fascinated. Every small win not only moves us forward, but inspires those around us, creating a ripple effect that extends far beyond our own lives. By embracing patience, taking deliberate steps, and celebrating incremental victories, fascinated, we learn that greatness is not a distant dream, but a reality crafted one action at a time. In the end, it is the courage to start, the commitment to continue, fascinated, and the willingness to influence others through our example that transforms small steps into giant leaps.